This is the official podcast of the one and only Preston North End Football Club PNE Pod. My name's Niall.
And I'm Neil Mellor. We'll be talking to some PNE legends, some former players, some current first team ones, and also some famous fans.
Absolutely. And we've got the first team goalkeeper Freddie Woodman on PNE Pod today, someone who's grown up within the game. His dad was a player, now a manager.
Yeah, brilliant. He talks about his dad. He also talks about goalkeepers being a different breed, not weird, just different.
Your words, not mine. Your words, not mine. He spoke about coming up through Palace and going to Newcastle and, of course, making a home for himself at Preston North End, where he made, Mel's, a rapid start to life, 7 clean sheets in a row when he first signed.
Incredible. Yeah, absolutely incredible. He tells us about some of his targets for PNE and also in his career as well.
And, of course, he won the Under-20 World Cup in 2017, played with some amazing players. So let's hear what Freddie Woodman has had to say on PNE Pod. Delighted to say we've got another PNE first team player joining us on the podcast today, Mels. Freddie Woodman is here. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, all good. Yeah, happy to be here. Looking forward to chatting to you guys. So thanks for having me on.
You spent 2 seasons at Swansea, 88 championship games, but now you've got a permanent home at North End. How nice is it after the amount of loans you've had just to be able to settle down somewhere and just say PNE's where I'm playing now?
Yeah, it's been perfect because I've been like here, there, and everywhere really. Obviously, I've been was at Newcastle, but then the loans, you know, you're always going here, there, can't really settle. So when I signed here, it was so nice just to have a base and sort of just belong to a club, play for that club, and really like build a connection with the people at the football club. It's been really good. It's been almost like a perfect 2 years for me.
There must have been a lot of interest for you. Was there certain clubs that showed interest, but it was Preston that you chose in the end?
Yeah, no, it was a busy summer really. I had 1 year left on my deal at Newcastle, knew that they were going in a completely different direction, and I knew I was going to move on. And I spoke to a few people, spoke to a few managers, but as soon as I spoke to the manager here and I realised what he wanted to do, and having worked with Mike Marsh before at Swansea, I just felt like this was the place I wanted to come. And as soon as I spoke to the gaffer, I gave him my word, and I got here and I signed.
How did he convince you?
By what he said, really. He said he had an ambition of getting this team into the Premier League, and he wanted me to be a part of it. And for me, that it wasn't like it wasn't like an answer that was a bit flaky. He meant it, and he meant it with the way that he said it. So I just felt like I wanted to be a part of that. And I knew that Mike Marsh is a brilliant coach. He's someone that I think's like improved my game. He's not necessarily a goalkeeping coach, but from what he teaches tactically and how he is as a man, I wanted to experience that again. So yeah, a big part of it was the coaching team.
Who do you speak to for that advice when you're making such a big decision, when you are going to the next club, which was Preston North End?
I saw always my dad. Yeah, my dad's been there. He's made every decision with me since I started my career. So yeah, I was literally on the phone to the gaffer, sitting here, and my dad was sitting there. And then after, yeah, we run through it, and he's really good to bounce off because obviously he's played the game. He knows what it's like. So when I told him what the manager had said, and we looked at the options, we both said that this would be the perfect place to come.
So you always wanted to be a goalkeeper because of your dad?
No, never. I hated being in goal. I didn't even, I just wanted to play outfield. And, I sort of played football for the fun of it. And then just randomly I got chucked in goal at school. It was quite late on. I was in year 8. So it was quite a late time. And my teacher then just said, if I fancied going down to Crystal Palace, have a trial. So I went home, told my dad that I was like going for a trial at Crystal Palace
as a goalkeeper.
And he was a bit shocked, and he was like.
And this was your first game as a keeper?
Yeah, literally. Like I never really played in goal. I hated playing in goal. Like I loved watching my dad. Don't get me wrong. I adored watching him play, but I just never wanted to play in goal. I just used to think it was quite boring and that. So but once I got my trial at Palace. My dad, I remember he sat me down and was like, this is like a big opportunity. It's like a serious thing. Like if you want to do it, let's do it properly. And that's the first time we sat down and we started setting goals and just rolled from there.
So year 8's quite late, isn't it? That's sort of what,
13,
14?
Yeah, 12,
I think it was
13.
like 12, 13. So yeah, really late. But I'd played like Sunday League the whole way up, outfield and stuff. It was just randomly I just went in goal at my school, and my teacher was a coach for Crystal Palace.
Your dad obviously played the game, so did yours, Mels. I've always wondered what it's like when you've got someone in your family who's played the game at a level. Your dad's now a manager, of course, at Bromley in the National League. Is it easier or harder to be the son of someone who's played the game at that level?
I don't know. Was it easier or harder for you?
Well, I had an older brother.
Yeah.
And it was easier for me because my dad learnt his lessons on him.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So sort of, there was always the pressure because my dad had played, and I suppose that must have been the same for you because your dad's played. People were expecting maybe more from you.
Yeah, it was almost like I don't know if you got the same. I always used to get a bit like, he's only here because of his dad, and it's a bit of a name. And that was one of the reasons when I first went into Crystal Palace. My dad decided to put my name down as Freddie Wood, not Freddie Woodman, because he started at Palace. He didn't want that to happen. But as I started to get a little bit better and stuff, people understood.
Need your passport as well.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, is there more pressure?
You had a fake ID at 12.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I didn't necessarily feel the pressure. I just loved it that I had someone there that was like someone I could go to for advice, who had been through it, so much. I felt that was the best thing. He never ever once like put pressure on me. But now he always says to me, like, if I try and have banter with him and say, like, well, you couldn't do this, he'll say, but you haven't played 500 games yet. So, like, I'm desperate to get to, like, 500 games so I can then say that to him.
Because you hear that, don't you, with loads of people across all sports where, as parents, they don't necessarily want to push their kids down that route if they don't want to take it. It sounds like that was the same for you.
Yeah, no, it was. Like, I never really took football serious, and he never put pressure on me. But I think once I got my trial at a professional team, I think he realised, you got an opportunity here to make something. And that's when it started getting a little bit more serious. And we started, like I said, setting goals and doing things a bit more properly.
How honest was he with you? Because my dad would always say, if I'd scored a hat-trick, you didn't do this. So he'd always make sure that I was aware to try and improve. I remember one game I played for Liverpool, he went, that is not good enough to play for Liverpool. So he was honest, whereas some manager and maybe the coach might not say that. The fans probably would. Yeah. But he was really honest. Has he always been like that with you?
Yeah, he's always been like totally honest. If I've had a good game, it would be the first to say that was good. But he always picks things in my games where he thinks I can improve on. Like even like last night, I texted him this morning and said, like, can you watch my clips, tell me what I can do better, what I can improve on. And I think it's really nice to have that relationship where I can even, I'm 27 now, I can still pick up the phone to him and say, like, what do you think? Like, is there anything I can improve on? Because he is a manager now as well. So I guess that helps as well. So yeah, it's nice to bounce off him like that.
Is there any sort of similarities in your game and his game we go, or differences maybe?
I'm not sure. We were sitting around a dinner table the other day and my mum just come out of it randomly saying like, Andy, like you couldn't kick like him. And I was just like, oh, right, maybe he wasn't any good at kicking. I'm not sure. Like, he always said he was quite consistent. Like when he played, he said he was very consistent, didn't really make too many errors in that. So maybe that hopefully that's a bit of a similarity.
The game's changed though, hasn't it?
Yeah,
you've got to play out from the back. He never has to play out from the back.
No, he just lumped it. But when I meet ex-people that he played against, he said he never used to come for crosses as well. So people always say that. So I always try to remind them and stuff. But, if I could just have if I could get, he played 500 league games, like I feel that's a massive achievement. So for me, like one of my long-term goals is just to try and get near that mark because, that's fantastic.
So you go to Crystal Palace, you're in the academy, but you're a Palace fan, grew up in South London, you've been a ball boy, you've been a mascot. So I guess that's pretty good as a kid. It's pretty cool as a kid to be able to then say that you're a player for the team that you support.
Oh yeah, it was incredible. I remember, when you first go into an academy and they give you like a bag of stuff with the badge and best feeling in the world, getting like free Crystal Palace stuff. So no, it was unreal. And to be a supporter of the team as well, it was massive. And then obviously when I ended up having to leave to go to Newcastle, like I was adamant, like I was not leaving like Crystal Palace. Like Palace was my team. Like I love living in London, love being around my friends, my family. So I didn't want to move at all. But I ended up having to move. So yeah, being at Palace was unbelievable. It's such like a family club. I felt like I really belonged there. And yeah, hopefully one day I'd love to go back and be there.
Who were some of them players at Palace in the first team that you used to watch and think, oh yeah,
Well, Wilf was just breaking through. He was like 16, just breaking through. So he was like the idol to everyone at the academy. I remember on day releases, I used to go in. I used to train with Julian Speroni. He used to have Lewis Price. He was the second goalie.
Was Speroni the one who had the tracky pants?
No, Corrali. Yeah, Corali
sorry.
used to have the tracky pants.
Gabor Kirai,
I just missed him. But yeah, that Palace team that was in the champ, it was really, you know, Sean Scannell, people like this, that they were like real like London boys, and you know everyone looked up to them and believed that they could be the next one that goes into the team.
You're a London boy, proudly Croydon. So what's it been like living up north for most of your professional career, moving
Northerner now,
to
aren't you?
Newcastle?
Basically,
I think
yeah.
you are adopted Northerner. You mean loans from Aberdeen to Bournemouth? I mean, you've been everywhere.
You know, in the beginning, it took some adjusting, to be honest. I used to get like bantered all the time for being that London boy. I remember my first day when I went into Newcastle, I went in with like a pair of jeans, Ralph Lauren, like buttoned up to the top, like nice shoes and that. And all the lads were coming in like trackies, like TNs, like vests and that. And I was thinking, whoa, and they just absolutely rinsed me for my Ralph Lauren. But yeah, no, it has been difficult because you are so far away from your family and stuff. But when you're doing the thing you love and you're playing football all the time, it's not too bad. But yeah, I always try and get myself home, venture back home and see the family and that.
You went to Newcastle. Alan Pardew was manager at the time when you went there. So your dad was coaching there as well. What do you remember of being involved at Newcastle in the early stages? Because you had some good managers that came in, some really good players as well.
Yeah, my early days at Newcastle were fantastic, really. They decided for me and Adam Armstrong, who's at Southampton now, that we would, at 15, we would train every day as a scholar and do our schoolwork on the side. So we ended up not having to go to school, which was unbelievable. And both of our games just developed so much from training every single day. So early on, it was just, you know, football, and just trying to improve so much, which was, you know, perfect for a young kid that all he wants to do is play football. So, you know, that was brilliant. And then I went into, you know, do my scholarship there, and like straight away I could see the differences from like a Premier League club like Newcastle from Palace. Like the facilities were top drawer, the stadium's unbelievable. Even going into training and being surrounded by like first team international players, it was like the standards were really high, and I sort of like latched onto that like really quickly.
Neil Mellor scored. Preston take the lead, and that's exactly what it means to Neil Mellor to score in the West Lancashire derby.